first I'd like to introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. My name is Susan Hauer, and I'm the owner here at Evans Pass Lumber and Ace Home Center here in Arnold. And this is my manager, Deanne. Deanne is our store manager, and the nice thing about Deanne for background for today is that she has a background in working for a florist and doing a lot of these beautiful arrangements that we're going to be seeing. So the way that we're going to kind of do things today is I'm going to tell you a little bit about some principles of design. We're going to talk a little bit about getting organized, the materials you need, and then Deanne's going to do some demonstrations. At the end of it, if you would like to work on a project, we would be glad to help you. We'll provide the ribbon, we'll provide the base for your tabletop, and we'll also provide anything that you need for that and help you select what you want for your project today. So we really want to start with thinking about, for both wreaths and our tabletop displays, what kind of style do we want? Do we want an elegant style? And this would be an example of an elegant style. Do we want something that's whimsical, like our Santa Claus down there? Or something that's more natural or woodland? So you want to kind of organize in your mind what kind of style that you want. Now for tabletop arrangements, the next thing you want to do is plan for proportion. Think about the table that you're using, and importantly, whether this arrangement is going to be lifted off if people are going to be eating dinner. Because if people are going to be eating dinner, you don't want something that's obscuring the vision from one side of the table to the other. But if you're going to just simply lift it off when you're serving dinner, then that's fine. So think about small table, big table, proportion is important. And then you can have tabletop arrangements in any kind of table you've got, from an end table to a coffee table to a dining room table. And for your wreaths, what you want to do again is think about proportion, the size, and whether you want it lit or unlit. Now, the lit wreaths need to be, if you're going to have them outside, you want to make sure that they're protected. They can't be out in the elements. So under a porch is fine, as long as they're protected from driving rain. So, and then with a wreath, you can also do either artificial or natural elements. You can use pine boughs, or you can buy an artificial wreath. Now the materials that you need, we're going to talk a little bit about pine cones. So Deanne, why don't you tell them your recipe for pine cones?
We live in a beautiful community that gives us beautiful natural pine cones. And a lot of people spray them to make them shine, but you don't have to do that. You can put that in your oven at 200 degrees for about 20 minutes, and all the sap that's in there coats your pine cones and it makes it shiny itself, so you don't have to spray it with anything. It's just a little trick that I do. Aluminum foil so it doesn't drip to your oven.
So
that's what we do.
Then it's not sticky.
No.
It's not sticky.
No, all right. It's not all that sap shines your pine cone, and that's where it goes to your foil that you have in the oven, because you have to put on foil so it doesn't drip down, and it is not sticky because all your sap has coated that.
For how long?
For about 20 minutes at 200, very low, so you don't catch them on fire. Or burn them.
Oh, there's the fun line.
Yeah, that's the downside to that.
You don't want to put it at 400 for 5 minutes and end up catching on fire.
Now, if you're going to make a natural wreath, what you want to do is find a frame, and you can actually make a frame that looks like this from coat hangers, wire. And hey, we're in a hardware store, so we do sell wire. But you make two circles, one a little smaller than the other, and then you just cut pine boughs and weave them in and out, tying them on with a little bit of wire. And you just lay it on a table and stick it in there until it's as full as you want it. The other thing you can do is just simply purchase an artificial wreath, and that way you can have it keep it from year to year. So it's whatever you want to do. The other thing that you're going to want to do is have some supplies handy. You want to use a glue gun, and a glue gun, you want to use the kind that's dual temperature, not just the hot one, because it's too hot. You'll need scissors, wire, just about this, something that's easy to work with so that you can wire things on. And then you're going to want ribbon, And Deanna's going to now tell you a little bit about ribbon and how to make a bow.
Okay, we're doing the bow now.
Hi ladies, would you like to join us? We're just about ready to start our bow making. Yeah, let me move this so we can.
This is what Bonnie's here for every year. The bows. Who has not made a bow before?
Who has flunked the bow class?
I never remember. I do it and then I forget.
Yeah, that's why you have to practice. Like sit in front of the TV with, and you can do it over and over and over.
Yeah, if you do it once a year, you don't remember
You
it
don't.
next
It's
year.
because it's pretty complicated. And I was saying there is a video of just bow making on thepinetree.net that you could log on, and it's a little slower and tells you kind of step by step. Even though I flubbed up in that video, and I'll probably flub up. So you make your first loop. That's your first one, and it could be any size, and you can do any amount that you'd like. And your second loop is always your smallest little loop in the center there. That's always going to be your second one. The trick to bow making is twisting and looping and not letting it go. That's the hard part. Keeping it one hand under your thumb as you pinch every loop into the center. Then your second set's going to be a little bigger than your first. Pinch, twist. Yeah, see, and then your next set's going to go above here. You start here in the center, then down, then up, and wire ribbon will go any direction you want it to go. So then you have to bring your other higher one on top there. See, like that. Twist.
I've been talking about wire ribbon for years and it doesn't do well.
You just didn't give it the face.
That's the grimace.
That frustration look, huh?
Yeah. She does it real well.
Doesn't it look simple?
Yeah.
I know. I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm going, yeah.
But we're going to practice, and
No, we're
Deanne will
And
not
that's,
let you leave until you have a good
No,
bow.
and that's exactly how I learned. I sat in front of my TV and made bow after bow, and you could take it apart and do it again, take it apart, because I thought I never was going to get it.
Okay, in capital letters, it starts with a P and it's called patience
Yes?
in
you have-
capital letters.
Yes.
Right. And see, we have you.
You do.
You do.
And
And
seriously,
you're welcome to
yes.
come in anytime,
I
and I'd
mean-
be glad to help again.
I know. Isn't that absolutely ridiculous?
This did not happen overnight, ladies, trust me.
So why should we let all that experience go to waste?
And if you want to come in and bring your ribbon or get some ribbon here, Deanne will be happy
Yep.
to help you or make the bows for you. Now she is running some wire through
Yep,
her
through the
little
center
loop
of the
while she
bow.
holds on
This
to
is the
things.
only time you're going to let go, is when you put your wire through the center. You're going to switch hands. Well, I do because I'm right-handed and I need to hold it this way to tie my wire.
And again, you really want to use the wired ribbon.
Yes. You think wire ribbon's hard, it's harder doing it without wire. Sure.
Well, the wire ribbon gives it body.
It does.
It does.
You could give it body if you have the satin ribbon. It's super hard to do, and it takes more loops to get that look that you're trying to accomplish. You can do it, and that's what I learned on the satin ribbon. So once the wire ribbon
If you tweak it
came
the
out,
wrong way, it gets a crease in it, and then you.
that's
blow
why
the
that
whole
trick
thing.
of twisting and pinching is very important, whether it be with this or the satin ribbon.
Does
If
it-
you don't twist and pinch, you're getting different sides, because satin ribbon has a shiny side and a flat side.
Yeah.
So if you don't do your twisting technique, you're going to have one satin, one shiny, one flat. One shiny, one flat, and it doesn't give you an equal.
Does it matter how many loops you have?
No.
Is there- No?
You can do as many as you want. I've done up to 12 on each side. This is 8 total here, but I've done up to 12 on each side to make it huge. It's all on what your hands can hold.
Okay.
And you sometimes get thumb cramps where your bow just flies right out of your hand.
But that's why we have Deanne here. You know, after those come cramps, just bring your ribbon in and we'll be glad to. Deanne's off
Yes.
Monday this week, but other than that.
Those of us that realize their limitations.
So that's a little bit about bow making. Some of the other things that you're going to need for your project might be glitter or spray snow if you want to flock something, or even spray paint if you want to color some of the pine cones. So that's a little bit about the materials you're going to do. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go through a tabletop decoration, and then we'll go through the wreath. So for the tabletop, as well as the wreath, the first thing you need to do after you decide on your style is think about your focal point. What is it that's going to be your focal point or your decorative element for each of these kinds of things? And we have some examples here. You can see we have the deer and the sign here. This, in terms of this tabletop arrangement, the focal point is really the sleigh that holds it, okay? This is going to be the focal point of one that she's going to demonstrate now, and she's going to make it for you. And you want to...
Which will take about 2 seconds.
And we're going to show you how easy it is.
This is what makes it so easy. You just buy and throw it together. You're not weaving all your beads by yourself or making your own top hat.
You could.
You could.
You could.
Yes.
There are people who can do that.
Yes. So this, we decided to do this with this garland.
Want some wire?
Nope, this has its own.
Has its own wire.
Yeah.
Don't even need wire.
Florals all are made with wire, so you could pretty much do the same thing with florals.
And when you're working with florals like Deanne is, know that you can bend them,
yeah,
you can cut them, you can make them do what you want them to do.
you can cut pieces off like
You can
this.
cut pieces
you
off.
took your wreath down, huh?
Well, it's right.
Because hers was kind of pieced out. These are all one garland that I cut into pieces. These little balls and these leaves. So, something like this looks a little more festive than just having the top hat. And if you do this, you could add little things to it to make it more pine cones you can put on here, or more
Little
bells.
snowflakes.
Little snowflakes,
Would
yeah.
be cute on that.
Something up here. Yeah. Ideas, whatever you like. Whatever you find in your yard, whatever you find at home, something that means something to you, you could make into a tabletop or put on your wreath. And you could switch it out too, every year.
And one of the traditional things that goes with tabletop are candles. And you can use a candle holder like this. You can use, for this type of candle, for our pillar candles, and simply weave some greenery around it. And you can use a taper candle in a small decorative taper holder, or if you're going to bury it in that, just use the little glass ones that you have at home. You can also put a candle in one of these hurricane lamps, and if you're going to do that, you can put decorative elements at the bottom. And you can buy these, or you can just go out and get little tiny pine cones from your yard and put them in their little twigs, and just put them in there and set the candle in, and then you've got a nice arrangement. Why don't you go through that one with them, how you twisted
Which one are we
the one with the deer. Why don't you take that apart and show them how you did that one?
And if you guys want to make a tabletop, we'll supply this greenery. And all
Yeah,
this
we'll give you the
is
greenery.
garland by the foot. This is probably about 2 feet worth. And I just stuck these cute little guys on it. So these are actually 3 little pieces here.
Is that good?
Mm-hmm. This is wood with glitter, and we have it in white and red. And different words like Noel, Joy, Merry Christmas.
Define
Hanukkah.
wood.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can kind of get, and I just stuck it right here in the middle.
Show them how you did
And
the,
this, this is just one piece that I hooked together at the end to make it You can make it round or you can make it oblong, and if you want a longer one, you can make a circle one and add to it so it's long. If you want to do a long type of tabletop, I usually make one of those, but I did. So you just twist your two ends together. Here's another great thing about greens. It's made out of wire. So things like this that wouldn't be otherwise so sturdy, wrap these around. Like if you have something that's unbalanced, you can balance it with your greens and you can't even tell. That's a trick of creativity. Not being able to tell your...
The other
Except they're
element,
growling.
the other
They're like,
element
"It's not
is florals, and something simple like putting these floral picks or any combination of florals in any kind of basket or any kind of container. That really shows off the floral. And again, if you have a large table, you could flank that on each side with some beautiful candles. Any of these you could flank with candles or put candles in the middle of it. This little cute one is, I think Deanne did a really cute job on this one. This is just a simple one for a small table. It's got a little Santa Claus on it. It's on a charger plate. So if you have a charger plates at home or red plates, a little bit of ribbon, you've got a cute Santa that you've already got at home. Put that all together and you've got something that's really decorative there. So that's a little bit about tabletops. Now let's do a demonstration of the wreath.
Come on, guys. Linda, Samantha. Venga. Oh, no.
You can make giant wreaths too. I don't know if you guys have been in Garden Center and seen that huge, what is that, 60-inch round one that we have out there? We like this wreath for demonstration, and normally when I make wreaths, I'll cut these florals because they're super long, but because I'm going to try and sell them again, I'm just going to I'm just going to bend them. When you're working with crafts, you should always work with odd numbers, like florals or whatever you're working with. And when you do a wreath, you can put your focal point anywhere you want on your wreath. If you want it on your side, you can put it on the side. If you want it here in the center or the top. And then your bow would just be the opposite of that. You could do it any way. If you put your focal point up here, your ribbon would go down here. If you put it over here, your ribbon would go over here. So it kind of all would flow together. This guy matches this. That's what I picked to sit right here in the middle.
You need some wire? You guys?
Yeah, move your little branches around because I'm not gluing them. Normally if I make it for myself, I'll hot glue these pieces in, of course, so they won't fall. But because this is just a, can you see this, Joe? See, this is almost cute just like that. You can add bells. Where's that other bell?
I'll get it. Maybe we can do a couple here. Because that's kind of a, let's put some ribbon on that and then we'll take him out and do an elegant one.
Okay, you want to find one that will
What color ribbon do you want? This one?
you think red?
No.
This one?
And then when we do the elegant one, I would use the red.
If you find a nice wreath that's almost half decorated, less work you have to do. It's all about fast to me when I'm doing crafts.
There's that word patience again.
Patience, yeah. Well, it's hard to spend a lot of time on crafts when you have a full-time job and you have a family and you have very little time.
But you can see this wreath. I'll show you this one while she's, yeah, There are hazards to working in a hardware store. You can see the design elements that she did. These are these beautiful pomegranates that we have. So this is kind of a fruit design, and she's chosen the poinsettia that matches that color scheme, and then the flower. But you see that she's these things are asymmetrical. They're not lined up. One of my things that Deanna's taught me is do not do 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, which was my sort of normal way of doing things. But put things off-centered in odd numbers so that you that's a more pleasing design to the eye. And you can see that she's tucked the ribbon in here. And this she made last year. I kept it at home, and it does fine. You bring it out again, you fluff up the ribbon, and you're good to go. You can see she's kind of got a little bit of a wave or a base here for that odd number elements.
It's only 4 loop because that wreath's fairly small. We're going to put at the bottom of this wreath. So it doesn't take away the look on this level.
Yeah, why don't you just hold it there, and then we'll take those elements out and show them how to make an elegant, how that same wreath can become an elegant wreath with just a little bit different change in the ribbon and the decorative elements.
So you just want to reuse this one?
Yeah.
Okay, does everyone kind of get that idea? And I'm into simplicity. I like simple. The less you use, I think the more beauty comes out. If you get too much stuff on here, you kind of lose track of what your vision is.
Isn't that adorable, though?
Yeah. And there's 2 things you added onto this wreath, and it's pretty cute. Okay, do we have any elegant?
Here, these and this. Do you want anything else?
I need one more of these.
Okay, I'll go get it. Over here at my handy dandy floral display.
I do this sometimes. If it's too long, I'll cut it. You're not selling this one again, Susan. I'm going to cut it and show it to
That's fine.
I utilize everything I have. Every piece. Leaves, and I'll make little bunches. Like that was super long for this. So, we can wire it.
See how pretty that is? Think too about the colors popping against a background. If you're going to use green, try and use something that's bright and white and sparkly rather than another green, dark green element on top of it. White is easy. You can use anything on something that's flat. If you have something green that you want to use on a wreath, think about putting a little spray snow right behind it. Or you can do what we've done over here on these trees, is use something like this as to frame the dark piece. These little bears are a little bit hard to see on this green tree. So what we do is we put this, and you see she's not picked too many patterns either. You want to be careful with lots of different patterns. Hi, you can feel free to join us.
Thank you.
guys just keep coming every year, and I'd say in about 2 more years you'll get it.
No, this is easy fan. This is the easy.
Well, they keep frowning at me like,
Sure. Like I
like
said,
it's much
Deanna's-
easier to come and ask you to help me.
Uh-huh.
Why?
You mean you don't want to sit on the floor in front of your TV and just make a ton of it?
There's that word again.
I do have a lot of that, Bonnie.
I guess you do.
With my family, you need it.
Hey, I'm not embarrassed
Oh wait,
to
this
ask.
is going to be on TV.
Those kids.
I didn't mean anything. My mother's always told me that anyway. She's the most patient. I'm the most patient mother she's ever. I can fly off the handle, but you can ask my kid that for sure.
I see you get a little narrow-eyed in here.
Oh, I can't. Well, here I watch myself a lot more than I do at home. I always tell them I can't treat my customers and employees the way I do my children.
Why not?
It won't work.
What's the difference between the two?
You're right. There's sometimes no difference. You gotta kick me or something because I keep forgetting you know who's over there. I like little tails. You don't have to put them, but when I do side type like that type of wreath like that, I like.
Now she's gonna bring that ribbon up and work it into the ring.
I wrapped my wreath from last year in tissue paper and put it in a plastic bag, and it came out just like brand new.
Isn't that
Yeah.
nice? That's that wire ribbon. It just,
It is this wire ribbon.
oh my.
And when I
my husband
started
hung
this,
ours
they
on
did
a
not
coat
have
hanger.
wire ribbon.
And it hung in the
You
Oh,
think
that's a
my boat
great
back
idea.
there wasn't one of
Yeah, they didn't have it when I learned to make the bows. Wire ribbon was not around, and when it came out, I thought it was the best invention someone came out with. So that's kind of a little preview there, sample. And you can switch your theme every year too if you want to. And if you want to do that, then don't hot glue anything. You could wire everything, or you could use your wreath because all these stems are wired to hold your items on, which I did there.
So that pretty much covers it. Does anybody have any questions about anything? But right now we'll have a hands-on. If you want to do a tabletop or a wreath, we're here to help you. We'll provide for you the base, the ribbon, and help,
There's pine
and
cones
Deanne's
right there.
expertise. We've got pine cones and all the supplies you need. So if you have time to stay and make something, that'd be great.
Caitlin's making one.
Okay, I know
Are
you,
you making a wreath?
I do it every year.
okay, and
Well,
you
you
three
know
girls.
what to do then, huh?
do the girls
They
have
have their
theirs?
wreaths.
Okay. All
So
right.
we could work over.